I don't think Tampa might have scored 31 points twice this season.
So
Dallas live north of 30. Don't start asking people to come into the playoffs and break who they are and do some incredible things. Tampa didn't have the ability to do that. So you're calling for that is an impossibility. If they hadn't done it all year, they would not do it today.
Oh, by the way, one last thing before Troy Aikman. One last thing before Troy Aikman chimes in. Dak Prescott throws two interceptions tonight.
Thanks for that detail. Troy, what are some of the keys to this game that you're going to be watching for?
I think, well, to Stephen A's point, I think that's a big part of it is the turnovers, of course. And, you know, I will say that a lot was made of last week's performance by Dak. I think up until that game, he has done a lot of really good things. He's played at a high level outside of the turnovers, and I understand that that's part of it. Not all of them are on him.
Right.
But I think when you look at the teams that have had success against Dallas, whether it was San Francisco last year or even Green Bay this year, and others, they play a physical style against this team. And I think if it becomes, if Tampa Bay is able to run the ball like they did week one, now they didn't run the ball well at all following week one, but if they're able to run the football the way they did against Dallas week one, I think they've got a real shot at this. But if it becomes a situation where they've got to throw it, if they get behind, it could be challenging because this is a defense that can get after you in a hurry. And that'll be the real key for me.
When you see Troy, when you see Tom play now, and I always said Tom played the game inside out, not outside in, and I see him have such success throwing outside to Mike Evans. For me, Dallas Cowboys, as a Dallas Cowboys fan, I said, I don't mind that throwing outside. I just want to stop Tom from making those completions on the inside of the football field. And Chris Godwin has caught more passes since week 12 than anybody in the National Football League, and most of them has been inside. How do you get Tom? How do you get to Tom coming up the middle of the
field? When you look at Tampa Bay skill players against some of the issues that Dallas has in the secondary, I mean that could be a mismatch. That's why Michael Parsons, DeMarcus Lawrence obviously become really important. But what Tom's done throughout his career, I saw him in New England. When he didn't have much protection, he just will not take a sack. It's hard to get to him, and he has outlets to get the ball to. So whether it is Godwin inside or anyone else, the tight ends, the backs, if you can take away his outlets, that's the key in order to get him to the ground because he always has a place to go with the football. He's smart and then when he has time, he's able to take the shots down the field. And Tom just knows how to win. I mean, that sounds obvious, but there's a lot of quarterbacks, in my opinion, who don't understand that depending on situations, you play the position differently. Tom doesn't beat himself. He knows situational football. He's the best to have ever done it. And if you give him a chance late in the game, you know, I don't like the Dallas's odds.
How hard is it to be that patient?
Whoa.
How hard is it to be that patient?
No, you're not getting away with this. See what's happening. And I understand because Troy's a busy man and he's not picking up on what Michael Irvin is doing.
What am I doing?
You giving astute football analysis. Let me finish. Michael Irvin is nervous. There's a difference. There's a difference. And this is important. And this is important. And this is why. And listen. We look at Tampa Bay, right? We understand that Dallas has been susceptible against the run this season. Not all the time, but some of the time. Leonard Fournette is a veteran. Somehow, some way, no matter what he does during the regular season, he seems to step up his game come postseason time, right? You already talked about Chris Godwin, right? And what he's done, right? Since week 12, right? And then we got Mike Evans, and we saw him explode just a couple of weeks ago, right? Because him and Tom Brady suddenly got on the same page. I'm thinking along those lines, and Troy, here's where I'm going with it. You talk about Tom Brady. We know what Trayvon Diggs brings to the table. We also know people ain't attacking that side of the field. It's the other side because you got an injury over there. And so because of that, because Brown went down, now you've got a situation where Tom Brady, not Sam Howell, not Trevor Lawrence, Tom Brady gets an opportunity to exploit a weakness. Good luck with that, Cowboys. Good luck with that.
Can I chime in really quick, and then I want to come to you on this, Troy. So I just heard that the Bucs have activated Ryan Jensen, center Ryan Jensen from IR. Bucs fans are elated.
Yeah.
How big of a deal is that for Tom tonight?
I think it's a big deal, even though he hasn't played all season long. And I had no inside information, but my gut told me that he was going to be activated. So it's not a total surprise to me. And what he does is he obviously brings some leadership to the offensive line. But more than that, to Stephen A's point, I do expect Leonard Fournette to get a lot of carries, and I expect him to do things that we haven't seen from him most of the season. I think he elevates. We saw it 2 years ago in their run to the Super Bowl. But Ryan Jensen brings an attitude, a nastiness, a toughness to that offensive line at a time when they really need it, with some of the other injuries that they've had and some of the issues that they've had in that offensive line. So I think it's a good thing. Forget that he hasn't played. Yeah. There will be a little rust. But I think it's a really positive thing for Tampa.
Right. Yeah, let me ask this, because I want people to understand this. How hard is it to be as patient as Tom Brady? We always talk about him dinking and dunking. But how hard is it to stay in that mode if that's all a team giving you, in the move the ball all the way down the field?
Well, it's hard if you get behind and you're a couple scores and you're not able to be patient. But because they've not had the running game that you'd like to have, that's why they haven't had the shots as much down the field either, is that he's going to get the ball out. That's why I say for Dallas, the real key to me is, can they get pressure? But more than that, can they handle the dump-offs that Tom likes to get, the checkdowns where he likes to get to?
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming, sports, and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.